Hello everybody, Infernape Shinjo here, and welcome to my top 10 Pokemon. This video was something that I actually forgot about, admittedly, but then after I did my top 10 Galarmons, I realized that it's probably a good idea to do my top 10 Pokemon in general, and this was a hard list to make. Believe me, because there are so many Pokemon that I would just go out of my way to say, yeah, I like that one, yeah, I like that one. But I feel like I decided to just narrow it down to the 10 that I feel like I automatically associate with, yes, that's a Pokemon that I really like. But before I get into the actual top 10, there are two honorable mentions that I just have to mention, and those are Buizel and Phalanx. Buizel I liked ever since the Diamond and Pearl anime, and Phalanx is honestly becoming one of my new favorites, especially with its hidden ability Defiant. But even though I like both of those mons, they just couldn't make it to the top 10. So number 10 is Aipom, and honestly, I never gave Aipom a second look until it evolved into Ambipom in Diamond and Pearl. But Aipom's just one of those that I know isn't super competitively viable, especially with Eviolite, because Ambipom is so much better, but it's just one of those that, again, watching the anime, I really enjoyed. And ever since, I would say, probably Diamond and Pearl era, there have always been monkey Pokemon that I would just say, yeah, I like that. I like monkeys in general now for some reason. I honestly couldn't tell you the story why, but Aipom's a cool guy. He just wants to have fun. Number 9 is Escavalier, and this is one that's been kind of on again, off again, enjoying, but just looking at its design, it just looks super menacing. Now, like I said with Aipom, probably not exactly competitively viable outside of a Trick Room team, but even though it has, base 20 speed? It's still cool. You can just slap a Choice Scarf. Probably a Quick Claw will be better because you have a better chance of outspeeding something. But its design is just cool. I like the whole night aesthetic of it. And I do like Excelgor more, probably. But just the bug steel typing on Escavalier makes it at least unique compared to Excelgor. And I just like how, I can't remember what episode of the Unova anime it is. I think it's one of the ones when Ash and them are being introduced to the idea of Pokemon filmmaking or whatever, and some dude uses like an X item or something on his Cavalier, and he just charges up and rushes towards, I don't remember what it is. If I can find the clip, I can put in a note on what episode and what the scene involves, but that scene just always stuck with me. Number 8 is Popplio. My poor baby Popplio got abused and ridiculed when the Alola series came out and these starters were revealed. Sure, Popplio evolves into something that admittedly looks a lot more feminine than a lot of starters, but Popplio itself just looks cute. It's got the nice balance of cool and cute, kind of taking a page from the Sun and Moon games in that sense. But one of my favorite characters from the Alola anime, Lana, owned a Popplio. So that might have an impact on why it's here. Number 7 is Hattrem, and looking through the list, it's actually the only Galarmon here. Now this has already been shown a couple of times so far in this list with Aipom and Popplio, but there are times that I prefer a first stage or a second stage to the final evolution. And I know that Hatterene is probably better in battle because of base stats, but Hattrem just looks adorable. Just even in its sprite in game and its artwork, you can see it trying to use its tiny stubby hands to hold up its gigantic hat. It's just hilarious. Plus, it gives me a reason to slap an Eviolite on there to make it even more bulky. and then use Calm Mind, make its special defense even more bulky. It's not going to hit as hard, but it's just adorable anyway. And I can't remember exactly, but I think when I came up with a name for my hat trim in Sword, or Shield I should say, I think I just looked up hat brands and just picked one that fits. I can't remember what it is offhand. I'm sure the future Shinjo will let me know. It pains me to do this, but Ribombee has to barely miss out on the top 5. Ribombee is just, I don't know what it is about it. It's just a good mon, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if anybody else will remember, but I think Cutiefly was revealed first, maybe, and then I thought, okay, this thing looks pretty adorable, and then when Ribombee was revealed, I'm just like, it's wearing a little tiny scarf, it's adorable. And Bug Fairy, I think it's the only line that's Bug Fairy to my knowledge, and its moveset is so, I don't want to say so diverse because there are mons that have more diverse movesets, but you could go with Quiver Dance, Energy Ball, Pollen Puff. Bug Buzz is probably a better option, but I have Pollen Puff there just in case of double battles. And I don't think I mentioned, actually I think I did mention, it gets Energy Ball to handle rock types. Granted, its defenses are probably so paper thin because it's just built to be a speedy special attacker, so it probably can't take many hits, but it's just adorable. I love it. Oh boy, get ready for the cringe. Number 5 is Excadrill, and I could talk all day about his appearance in the anime, how it was able to actually defeat Pikachu, something that not many mons can actually do. But the main reason that it's here, I can't believe I'm talking about this on YouTube. Back when I was in high school, how was it? I was just like every other kid. I was just an angsty teenager. I had a theater class that talked too much and just decided to just goof off. Probably every class was like that, to be fair. And I had a book that I wrote stories in. Sometimes poetry, sometimes whatever I feel like. And in my mind, for some reason, Unova was probably the hottest thing at that point. And Excadrill was probably one of my top tier favorite mons from Unova. And I decided that Excadrill was like the embodiment of being cool under pressure, guess giving these bullies their just desserts or whatever, and I decided to incorporate that with the character Fonzie from Happy Days. For some reason.
How come? Because I'm the Fonz, huh? Hey.
I don't know why I connected the one to the other, and I'm just here like imagining Excadrill wearing a leather jacket, which actually does sound pretty cool, but just reminded me of my old cringe self. It's just like, I'm Excadrill, I'm gonna be the one that's cool under pressure, even though that's probably canon and accurate to Excadrill's design and personality. It's just like, dude, younger Shinjo, what were you thinking? Excadrill's a cool mon, but what were you thinking, past Shinjo? You'd make me embarrassed if I were you. Wait, I am you. On to a brighter note. You like memes? Number 4 is Mudkip. Mudkip is just adorable. Like Poplio, I feel like he, not really as much, got overshadowed from the other two starters, but I do feel like Mudkip was probably not the first pick for a lot of people until the memes came out about it. And yeah, I could say Swampert is probably here as well, but just Mudkip's design, I think I told this story in my Hoenn Pokemon list, that I just drew Mudkip, and I could probably do it pretty well from memory, because I know exactly how his little side fin cheeks go. I could probably draw from memory. I just like water types. Water types are my personal favorites, which might give you an idea of how the rest of this list is gonna look. coming into top 3, we have Hawlucha. And actually, I'm looking at the list again. Hawlucha is the only Kalos Pokemon on my list. And it's weird because for some regions like Unova and Kalos, even Sinnoh, I could go out of my way to say, yeah, I like that Mon. I really like a lot of Mons in general. There aren't many Mons that I would outright say I despise. But there's just no room to put all of them on this list. Now, Hawlucha, on the other hand, Hawlucha is probably the modern day version of my Excadrill story. Just less cringe, hopefully. Hawlucha just looks super boss. He looks great. And he gets a pretty diverse moveset. He gets access to Poison Jab, X-Scissor, Flying Press, which doubles as a flying type move. I'm not entirely sure how that works still, but it just looks cool. I wouldn't say that I'm a fan of like wrestlers in general, but Hawlucha just looks cool. And there's just like a running joke with me and my brother about Hawlucha. There's not enough time to even explain it, but just know Hawlucha is very top tier for me, as you can see from this list. I like to live on the wild side sometimes. Number 2 is Monferno. Although, I guess you could say the whole Chimchar line, but I'm singling out Monferno here. A lot of people are probably expecting some form of the Chimchar line to be number 1, but no, Monferno is number 2. And the main reason, it's weird because I feel like I'm kind of contradicting myself by putting Monferno here instead of Infernape when my channel is based off of Infernape, but I don't know, I just like Monferno better. There are a lot of times where people say the mid-stage starters are kind of the weird form of it, like between Chespin and Chestnut, Quilladin just looks kind of weird. And I guess Braixen to an extent, there are a lot of Mons that just, the mid-stages just don't look right compared to the other two, but Monferno just looks cool. That battle that Ash had with Paul when Chimchar evolved into Monferno, that scene has just stuck with me. And Monferno, I love playing Diamond and Pearl, picking Chimchar, reaching him to level 14 to evolve, learning Mach Punch, and then just sweeping the first gym. That's just always fun to me. And I guess if you really want to, you could put the whole Chimchar line, but I just like Monferno a little bit more than the other two. And I'm sure at this point you're thinking, wait, Shinjo, didn't you say something about how you liked water types when you were talking about Mudkip? Yes, that's right. That's why number 1 is the entire Totodile line. Totodile was my first starter that I picked. He's the first starter that I got to level 100, and I remember just me walking with my Feraligatr, although not really since it was silver and Pokemon didn't walk behind you. But I just remember going into the Elite Four and just sweeping one battle after another with my Feraligatr that, of all things, I think had Surf, Waterfall, Strength, and maybe Bite or Crunch. I want to say Cut, but I don't think that's right. But I know that I remember going into the Elite Four with a Feraligatr with almost all HM moves, and it was glorious. Even outside of my nostalgia for picking Totodile as my first starter, the anime did a good job of representing Totodile. I loved Ash's Totodile in the anime. The fact that a Croconaw was pretty dominantly shown in the Sinnoh anime with, what's his name, Corey?
I'm your man.
And Feraligatr, he hasn't had much of appearances as much, but I just love how Ash's Snorlax took on a Feraligatr in that sumo competition in Johto, I think it was. Honestly, I wish that Ash would at least evolve his Totodile to Croconaw, but we're not making that kind of video. I just love the Totodile line. His personality is great. Anytime I get a chance to pick a Totodile, I would go out of my way to do it. But I would say throughout the entire test of time, the whole Totodile line has been just great. And as far as I can remember, he's the first alligator crocodile designed Pokemon that we've had. I don't think we had any in the first... No, as far as I know, we didn't have any in the first game. But Totodile is just the epitome of cool to cute ratio, balanced perfectly. And for alligator, just looks absolutely dominating. I think it gets even better with each generation. Like, Gen 2, he was one of the starters. You had to pick him. Maybe Generation 4 or 5, he gets access to D-Dance. And that is one of the best things to give it. Because, as you've noticed with a lot of these mons on my list, they're, most of the time, hit hard, ask questions later. Either special or physical side, Hattrem more special, Rabombi more special, Excadrill, Hawlucha, Monferno more physical. So, for my playstyle, I just like to just set up if I have the opportunity and just rinse through a team. For Alligator, especially with Waterfall, Ice Punch, Crunch, Dragon Dance. It might get more variety of moves, I don't know, but it's just great. I don't think there's any amount of time that I could spend to talk about why I love the Totodile line so much. So I'm just going to end that here. So that's my list of top 10 Pokemon, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of dislikes right now, because people are starting to realize there were no Kantomons on this list. And the main reason that there were no Kantomons on this list is, first of all, Kanto is the first generation. I feel like everybody would go out of their way to say, yeah, I like Charizard, I like Blastoise, no, I like Venusaur instead. So, it's just redundant to include Kantomons here, because everybody likes at least one Kantomon. To be fair, you can't really say anything bad about Kanto, because if you do, you're gonna get in trouble. Although, if you say nothing about Kanto, in this situation, I'm probably gonna get in trouble. Just to satisfy people, I'll put Hitmonlee in honorable mentions as well, because Hitmonlee is one of those ones that I really like. I actually like Poliwrath too. You know, the more I think about this, the more I realize there are some mons from Kanto that I probably should have included. Oh well. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you want to leave your own top 10 Pokemon, leave them down in the comment section. And let me just stress, this was hard to make. I'm sure there's a mon that I missed that I absolutely adore. So, just keep that in mind. But these are my top 10 favorites right now. I looked through all my other generations and picked out the ones that I would say are my top favorites. And it is my opinion, so just keep that in mind. I will see you in the next episode. Momentai.